Hey there. It's been a while since I did a real vlog. You know, not one where I'm in a kayak talking about the weather or Ken's health. Although it is 44 degrees, we're headed to 53, and then we're going to have single digits this weekend. So that's out of the way. But yeah, I had some time on my hands. I thought I'd be out and about this afternoon, taking photos of eagles. Local nature center had a session where they had people meet them by the riverside, and they used their telescopes to show them eagles across the river. And as it turned out, there were like up to 40 of them at a time on one of the exposed shoals in the Missouri River. And also an eagle's nest that was being built. So I thought, hey, I'm going to check that out. Well, you know, I drove by there yesterday late afternoon, like 4 o'clock. And I did see the nest, and I saw 2 eagles in it. Now the river there is more than a quarter-mile wide. And this was at a diagonal. So I looked at the map, it was like 4/10 of a mile. So it's not much on the camera, but it was still kind of cool. So I'd wanted to go out in the morning, and today's a clear day, and then, you know, the weather's going to get shitty, so I guess maybe next week I can do it. But I had to be home because I'm waiting for a delivery I have to sign for. Yeah. FedEx is coming with a new phone. Yeah, I've had my Motorola Droid Turbo 2 for 5 years. I love the camera on that thing. After 2 years, I actually bought a kit so I could tear the battery out and replace it. And I got another 3 years. But it's getting so slow. It could take 15 seconds to 30 seconds for an app to open. If I go from message to check out a web page so I can put a link in a text, going back and forth, I have to wait for each one to open up again. You know, it's like... So, you know, the thing is, phones, man. I want something that's at least got some power to it, a processor to it. So I went for a low priced mid-range phone. And I gave in to the Google. I was going to get another Motorola, but the more I read about them, it just wasn't crazy. It was a Moto 1, I think. Moto 1 5G. What was it? So I ended up going with the Google Pixel 4a. It's 5G, but I only went with that because it's got a few extra features. Not that I'll ever use 5G, but yeah. So yeah, new phone, that'll be nice to have something I don't have to wait for. But anyway, this morning I watched Silly Tom's vlog, Stuck in a Daydream, and I thought, yeah, I should make a vlog, and I could touch on some of those points. First of which, tea. Yeah, I gave up coffee. I did it gradually. I went to 50-50 decaf, a regular, then full decaf, and then last summer I went to no coffee. I didn't go anywhere. And then, you know, when it started getting cool, I wanted something to warm up, so I was drinking hot chocolate, but then it turned out to put creamers in it to give it extra flavor, and it's like, you know, what the hell? You know, I might as well be drinking coffee. So I've been drinking black tea, Constant Comment, and a chai tea from Bigelow, those two. And sometimes I'll mix in a something from Celestial Seasonings, like this one's got a raspberry. So I've actually had 3 different tea bags in this thing, but I stretch them out. And once in a while I put a drop of honey in it. Yep. But yeah, you know, Tom talked about being stuck in a daydream. Well, no, I'm not stuck in a daydream. You know, I mean, I'm well past midlife. I mean, hell, I'm an old man. I mean, I'm not old, but 68. I mean, real soon, 68. So, yeah. Well, the only good thing about that is Social Security and Medicare. Yeah. Yeah. So, but, no, I'm happy where I am. I'm with the woman I love. The only downside is Missouri. Yeah. And then all that comes down to the ultra-conservatism and the attitudes. You know, the whole masking thing. I mean, now we're down to where majority of the people in the stores probably, you're odd if you're not wearing a mask, but it's because the stores are requiring them. You know, so, yeah. Giving an example of attitude here. our governor. Now, we're in the state capitol. And he gave his State of the State address this past week. He was offended, and he actually stated publicly that it was an affront to him that it took place the way it did. See, it's usually held in the House chambers. Now, the House canceled their sessions all last week. They had an outbreak of COVID, a spike in COVID. They actually were opening up a clinic within there to test people. And so they canceled for a week. Now, the Senate didn't have any cases, so they said, "Yeah, screw it, we'll keep in session." Well, as it turns out, now they've got a couple of cases. But anyway, they just went back. And so the governor's ready to give his State of the State address, and they said to him, the House said, "Look, we don't want the House chambers packed with people. There are other places in this building if you want to hold it." Well, if you want to hold it, it's going to be held, you know. But anyway, so he held it in the Senate chambers, and he said that it was an affront to him that they treated him that way. Yeah. See, now he had COVID. His wife had COVID. She had, I don't know how severe it was. She had it, symptoms. He was asymptomatic. But, you know, yeah, it's Missouri. You know, what can I say? So, yeah. Now, Tom talked about COVID fatigue. I wouldn't say I have COVID fatigue. I mean, I'm not a social animal to begin with. You know, I mean, it's like not like I'm seeing people at work every day. I'm not. I stay at home. I go out for shopping. If I go out, I mean, body's working, and I go out and hiking or kayaking, something like that. It's not with anybody else. So I wouldn't say I have COVID fatigue. You know, it's just tired of the COVID attitude around here. You know, that whole conservative lean, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a grouchy old man. You know, that's what it is. I'm a grumpy old man. Past middle age, you know. I mean, it's not like I have teens to worry about like Tom does. 3 of them the same age. Yeah, that'd be a worry. You know, what are they facing? But now it's grandkids. You know, I have one granddaughter that's 2 years old, and one that was just born 2 months. Yeah, 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago now. So yeah, well, what do they face when they're teens? And you know, I have more that are in their 20s, but you know, what are the young ones? What do they face? You know, hopefully, you won't have to worry about COVID. Yeah, probably be a new code. It'd be COVID 35. I've tested 5 times for COVID. See, now here in Missouri, you cannot, the only reason you can test is if you have a reason for testing. Let's say you have a procedure coming up, or you're symptomatic, and even now, if you're symptomatic, they say isolate. Just isolate. You think you've got it. But, so there's no free testing to speak of. Now, when I went to New York, it's like all I had to do was go on a pharmacy website, sign up for it, and go and test. But anyway, they offered what the state was doing is going around different counties with National Guard or with hospital units and setting up a free testing day or 2 days in a row. And so they offered it back in July, and I took it. I was negative. And then when I wanted to go to New York to see my daughter when the baby was born. And, you know, we knew when that was going to be, and I figured I could stay for a few weeks. So a free testing came up. I took it. I was negative, and I needed that negative test to go to New York. And then when I went to New York, I had to take another test and be negative to stay there. Yeah, to go out in the public. So that was 3 tests. Now the second 2, the second and the third, those were shallow swabs, you know. Well, then in December, I did an antibody test. That was negative. I thought, well, you know what? It's only $25. Find out if I've even had it, and I hadn't. And then a couple of weeks ago, another free test in the county was offered, so I went for it, and it was negative. Within a week, I was scheduled for a procedure at the hospital, and I had to have a negative test within 4 days. So I got tested again. Now those last 2 were deep swabs. Boy, do I remember how much fun that was. Yeah. But I was negative, you know. So, yeah, I've had 5 tests. But now I'm coming up on Friday is my first COVID vaccine dose. I had filled out a questionnaire online with the county because what had happened was the county said, if we ever get any, maybe we could have clinics. So, tell us about yourself. Do you have comorbidities? Which, I've got a couple of things going on. So, plus over 65. So I filled out the questionnaire. Well, what the governor did was he told CVS and Walgreens, they were the ones who were administering it to the nursing homes. And he told them, okay, take all your surplus and give them to the county health departments. So the state itself is really screwing up on distribution, but the counties, when they can, they're taking care of it. Well, the county called me right away and said, hey, you filled out that questionnaire, you want to test or vaccine? I said, yeah, sure. So that's Friday, and then 3 more weeks will be my last dose, my second dose. So yeah, not that I won't have to test again, because considering New York, they'll probably have me test before I were to go back in the state again if I want to visit. And I do want to visit. I want to visit with my children, my grandkids, Ohio and New York. So yeah, that's my only daydream, visiting with my kids. But I wouldn't say I'm stuck in a daydream. I'm just old. Well, this has been going on a while. Did I talk about the weather? I think I did. Yeah. So I even got that in. Yeah. A little bit of health. Well, hey, Tom, it was good seeing you in a vlog. Ciao, folks. Vlog on.